What can I answer for you guys?
Lots happened since the last time we caught up with you guys.
Man, yeah.
First, I guess we'll start with the guys here at Pro Day. How do you think, especially coming off of so many guys that performed at the Combine?
Yeah.
What do you think that says about what they've learned here, and what do you think of their prospects for the draft?
I do think there's a part of it that you want to take some pride in terms of having the ability to develop players, but I also think it just speaks volumes of their individual effort to stay this high and this level, especially the guy you had just talked to. That guy's getting rumored to be as high as the first round on day one. So it's awesome for him and the work that he's put in to have this opportunity. But then there's people that did really well today. Joe Vaughn did really well, and I think at least earned probably a position on the bus, I would say. But there's other guys that were role players, for us that might have an opportunity. And I think that's the stuff I'm really proud of is those guys that are having just an opportunity to advance to the next levels. And then, Kane made a name for himself at the Combine. Swish obviously is a story in himself, and I think Jay did well today. Jay did well in the drills, and obviously he's got to keep getting healthy, and I think hopefully on draft day that everything will work out.
How connected have the current players been to this process?
All of them. They're all locked in. In fact, the old, Lato and Carl Jones were here today to just support what they would consider their younger brothers, and the current players were awesome because not only do they have the relationships but for them, my point to them was make sure you're out here so you can visualize yourself being here, and then the feelings that you're having because, like Femi's story, as exciting as his story is, I think that's available to everybody. But the first part is, can they visualize themselves being there, right? And if they can, I told them when I saw most of the players said, if you guys saw yourself here, then you got a year from today to get yourself prepared for this opportunity. I said anybody can get it. You just got to be willing to do things that nobody else is willing to do, so you can get what nobody else can get.
You have the advantage now as you pivot towards spring ball and get ready for year two. You have year one to look at. What were the biggest things that year one gave you as you prepare for spring and year two?
Yeah, being able to let the players have more control and variety over what we do. I think what I've learned in the first year is just not taking too much control over things. Letting those guys, the guys that are crossing the white lines, I like to say, depend on them more in executing rather than my trying to have the best calls out there. And then have answers to it. We were obviously an exotic team. We did a lot of exotics throughout the year to try to manipulate pass rush. I know pass rush was always the question that everybody had, and we had to bring people from other rooms. Well, now that also poses a weakness where if we were stuck on the field, can we play the run, especially in a conference like the Big Ten? So I think that's what I've learned from that. I think the addition to, or I should say changes in our personnel this year will be exciting. It'll be an exciting spring. We're trying to replace all 11 starters. And then on top of that, it's a new staff that we're trying to gel together and combine a lot of experience. I think I counted over 100 years of experience on our defensive staff. So I think expectations will be high, both on the players, the coaches, as well as the fans. I say all three ways. So we just got to make sure we meet and beat or greet at least all the expectations.
Go ahead.
Did anyone's performance surprise you today or stand out just like you weren't expecting it?
Jovan, his is the one that surprised me the most, only because I've worked at Yale University, so I know the future that he's already set up for himself, and to watch a kid like himself come and compete the way he did, he turned a lot of eyes. I think the other kids pretty much met the expectations that I anticipated, and now we kind of see where the chips lie and then where their futures take them.
You brought up, the changes earlier. Almost an entire new staff, minus a couple assistants here and there. But you bring in someone like Demetrius Martin, and I guess what do you think of the job he helped do for you guys in the portal and help replenish that secondary?
I think the name himself, right, with his name carries a lot of expectations, and so it was exciting. Just the energy that he brought into recruiting, the players obviously that he brought here, but I think now the flip side of it is in spring, us actually following through with it. You know, these guys that we're anticipating being pretty good athletes, you know, pretty good players for us. We got to make sure that at the end of spring, we're all thinking that, you know. So great job on step one and getting these kids here, you know, and now for us just following through and making sure they can be the athletes that we think they are.
Is there maybe one or two players you're extremely eager to see in pads and see how they fit into the system?
You know, well, let's start from the front. Would be Nico Davier and Ashton Sanders. Those guys transferred in, and we'll be excited to see what they can do and what they can learn quickly. From the linebacker crew will be Isaiah Chisholm and Ben Perry. Those guys have already shown a lot of signs of life in terms of the transfer from knowledge of what they played to ours, and you know the schemes were very similar. Ben Perry will be interesting because he can play both. He's actually a safety by trade, so he would be the guy we can compare to is Kane Madrano. He's a guy that can play in the secondary as well as the linebacker spot, so that'll be interesting. And then the secondary, there's just so much of it. You know, Key Lawrence, Jordan from Andre Jordan from Oregon State transfer. I mean, there's so much back there. It'll be interesting to see where they develop, how they develop, and then more importantly, us as a defense, we need to make sure that we can get the 11 best players on the field. So whatever the package that fits that's what we got to end up doing.
Time for one more question.
Last year, you're promoted to defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Maybe not everybody knew your name, but Jay, Femi, Carson all blossom under you. And now you're here for year 2. Has that been a gratifying process for you?
No, I mean, yes and no. I mean, I think I do what I do because I love it so much. I think because of them and their success, I think they're the ones that actually shown on my name, and not the other way around. I really believe that. We just were able to capitalize on guys that worked so hard. Those guys worked really, really hard and got what they got. And I'm actually riding their shirt coattails. I really am. So hopefully we can get more of those guys and not so much shine on me, but maybe shine on their position coaches. Yeah.
Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate it, guys. Take care.